Today we're going to be preparing a 3-pound pot roast, potatoes, carrots, onions, frozen corn on the cob straight out of the freezer, and we're going to do a chocolate surprise cake. We're going to do this entire meal primarily in our 8-quart Dutch oven. We're going to do what we call stack cooking for most of it. So we'll finish off this entire meal on one burner. First thing we did just a few minutes ago, we preheated our 8-quart Dutch oven on medium heat. We're going to take our roast, which is in the refrigerator. Let me grab our pot roast here. Pull this out. So we got the 8-quart nice and preheated, and what we're doing is we're going to take our roast and we're going to just put it in there, and that's going to sear it, locking all the flavors and the juices in the roast. One thing this does do is it helps cut down on the shrinkage of our roast when we sear it on both sides. We're going to let this sear for about 5 minutes on medium heat. Okay? In about 5 minutes, it'll naturally release itself. We'll flip it. While that's searing really nicely, we're going to start cutting up some onions. We're going to add onions and garlic to our pot roast. All right, so we're going to cut our onion. Cut the ends off right here. We're actually going to use our Master Cut food processor to cut up our onion. They're really nice, even pieces. Take my trash, put it in my trash bowl. All right, so we're going to take our onion over here. We're using our number 2 cone on our Master Cut, which is our julienne cut. Cuts the onion really nice and even for us. All right, clean this out, get our onion down in our bowl. And then we're going to go back over here and we're going to mince some garlic up. Rinse my hands off. All right. I already have some garlic that's already been pre-minced here, but we're just going to do one more. So we're going to mince our garlic. Just take your Santoku knife. Just smash your garlic there. Just takes the peeling right off real easily when you do it this way. There we go. We are going to cut the ends off of the garlic before we mince it. And just mince it up nice and easy there. All right. We're going to add our garlic here to what we already have minced up. And we're going to put our onions and our garlic in with our roast. See how our roast is doing? Oh yeah. I'm going to add our garlic here. It's all around the roast. And then our onion. Now it should be time to flip our roast. So look how brown that is. Wow. Nice and brown on one side. We're going to add a little bit of soy and some pepper and some seasonal. So let me get this over here. Take our seasonal here. Just going to sprinkle it over the roast. Oh yeah. It's really up to you on how much seasonal you want. I like a lot. Put that on. Take a little bit of pepper. And soy. All right. Perfect. Now, we're going to cover this with our high dome cover. And we're going to let this cook on medium low to low, depending on your stove, for about another 15 minutes or so. So while that's sitting there cooking, we're going to cut up our potatoes and our carrots, and we're going to add them to the roast. We're going to do about 4 to 5 potatoes, depending on how many people you want to feed. We're just going to quarter these into quarters, just nice and easy. These potatoes will literally cut apart with a spoon when they're done cooking in our roast. They're so tender. This is such a nice family meal. Just an all-American meal. Roast potatoes, carrots, and onions. Doesn't get much better than that. One more. All right. Add our potatoes in and our carrots. Just drop our potatoes right down in there, just all around the roast. And our baby carrots. Now, if you wanted to add about a cup of water to this, once you get everything in, you can. It does make for a little bit more gravy if you did want some more gravy added to your roast. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take just a little bit of water here, and I'm going to pour it over the top, and it's just going to make me a little bit more gravy. All right. I'm going to go ahead and cover this back up and let this continue cooking on low to medium low. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our corn on the cob started, our frozen corn on the cob. We're going to do this in our 8-inch skillet. So we take frozen corn on the cob straight out of the freezer. Just place it in our 8-inch skillet here, just like that. Now we're going to use a tablespoon of water. Just about that much. Just sprinkle it over the top of the frozen corn on the cob. We're going to cover this with our cover. We're going to open the whistle, the flat end to the notch there. And we're going to put our burner on medium heat. Now when that whistles, we'll come back, we'll close our whistle, we'll turn the heat off, and our corn on the cob will finish cooking in about 10 minutes after we have the heat off. Now we're going to get our chocolate surprise cake going. The surprise of the chocolate surprise is the cherries. I love it. This is one of my kids' favorite dessert at home. We're going to take our mixing bowl here. We're going to do half of the cake mix, a chocolate cake mix. We're going to be using our 2-quart casserole pan to bake our cake. We're actually going to bake our cake on top of our roast potatoes, carrots, and onions using our multi-purpose rack here. We're going to place the multi-purpose rack on, have our chocolate surprise cake in here, and it's going to bake right on top of the roast potatoes, carrots, and onions. Let me get my scissors. Cut our cake open here. We're going to do about half of this today because we are using our 2-quart casserole pan to bake. So we're going to take about half of this chocolate cake mix. It's not scientifically measured out or anything like that, just about half of it. That looks like about half right there. And the good thing about this is you can actually save this. You can actually wrap this back up. My wife loves this. Wrap this back up, put it back in your box, and put it back in the cabinet. Okay, we're going to take 1 egg, crack our egg here. We're going to put that in with the chocolate cake. And we're going to stir it up. Obviously, we're going to have to add a little bit of water. Just bring that to a good consistency here for our cake. A little bit more. I like to add a little bit of water at a time. I don't ever want to have too much. Now, I wanted you to notice one thing. We're not adding oil to our cake mix. The reason we don't need oil when we're baking in our cookware is nothing can dry out when we're baking in a sealed system. No oxygen can get to the cake. So the reason most people use oil when they're baking is if you don't, it tends to dry the cakes out. You guys can hear the whistle on the corn on the cob. Means our corn on the cob is finished. So we're going to turn the whistle off. turn the heat off, and that'll finish cooking right there for us. So our cake mix is mixed up. We're going to take our 2-quart casserole pan, and we're going to take our surprise, our cherries, and we're going to put them in our 2-quart casserole pan. It's right inside there. Oh man, this is delicious. I love this. We're going to add our cake mix on top of it. Look at how colors just blend together. Spread this across our cherries. So we got our chocolate cake on top of our cherries, and we are going to actually bake our chocolate surprise cake on top of our roast. So this is really, really convenient, baking on top of the stove. We're going to use our multi-purpose rack. It sits perfectly right on top of our 8-quart Dutch oven. Put our chocolate surprise cake on top of there and cover it with our high dome cover. Great way to do things on top of the stove versus doing it in the oven. It saves us a lot of money on energy. The last thing is our corn on the cob is whistled, so we're going to place this on top of our 8-quart Dutch oven. It'll finish cooking, again saving us money on energy. We're doing an entire meal on one burner. This should be done here in about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll check and make sure the roast is done, and we'll have a great family meal. We'll plate it up. Okay, so our pot roast should be done. We are going to turn our heat off. We're going to take our corn on the cob that we had stacked on top of our 8-quart Dutch oven, set it off over here, and let's see how we look here. Oh yeah, look at that chocolate surprise cake. Look at that. That's just beautiful. Look at that. Wow. Take that right there. We're going to take our plate here. We're going to go ahead and get our chocolate cake plated here. I'm going to take a towel and just flip this over. Just like so. We're going to take this towel here and just give it a light tap, not much at all. And this should just slide right out onto our cover. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. All the cherries just come over that chocolate cake. That's the surprise right there. All right, we're going to put this over to the side. And let's check on our roast. Let's take our multi-purpose rack off here. Oh, wow. Look at that roast. Beautiful. Perfectly cooked. 3 pounds in 45 minutes. Let's take our cake, put it right there. Let's get our roast out here on our cutting board. And let's cut that. I can't wait to cut into this. Roast right here. Put it right there. Take our knife here and our fork. We're just going to cut just a couple of slices off of here for our plate here. It just cuts right through there. Look at that. Perfectly cooked. Oh yeah. Put this on our plate. Let's get some potatoes and some carrots. Those potatoes are so soft. You could cut through them with a spoon. Look at that. So soft. A few more carrots. And a little bit of gravy. Let's get a little more gravy here. Oh yeah. That's beautiful. Take our cake, put it right there. And last but not least, our corn on the cob. Look at how beautifully yellow. It just pops out, man. No water. Keeps all the vitamins and minerals in the corn. Look at how pretty that is. Beautiful. We have our pot roast, potatoes, carrots, a little bit of onion and garlic mixed in there with the potatoes and the carrots and the pot roast, our corn on the cob, and our chocolate surprise cake. Another fast, simple meal, all-American meal from Pro Health Ultra.